Whether you're using G Suite, Zoom, Moodle's Big Blue Button, or even Skype, you can now have your students individually annotate and work on lesson material provided by you on the Smart Learning Suite. Simply register yourself as a teacher for free and you'll be able to upload your lessons to a secure website where your students who will have joined as a guest using the link you put in the chat can interact with material either individually, in pairs, in groups, or all together, as directed by the teacher. Here, I can see that I have 9 students actively involved, and the green tick signifies that they have completed the activity, and they want me to check their work. In today's example, I have 4 students, one of which I have called Android, and I can click on the Android name and check the student's work and offer some help if need be. While in this example, I am using the Google Suite app, I have done the same exercise using other webinar platforms. So welcome to this game-changing method in teaching online. So I've started a Google Meet, and you can see here that in my G Suite, which I've been given by the school, we don't have the Smart Learning Suite app, but this isn't a problem. So don't worry, if they can install it, it's great news. If they can't, it's not a problem. So today I've got my 4 students in on 4 different devices. So I'm the guy in the middle with the weird spiral because I'm using the Snapchat camera app, which you should download. It's amazing. So I'm using that so you know I'm me. Okay, so here I am with my 4 students. By the way, I am actually using this add-on, which you can get. It's called Enable Grid View, and it's a bit like Zoom, that Zoom has automatically, but Google doesn't. So you can add this add-on, and that way you can get a grid view of everybody. But the other people need to install it as well. Also, you can install the attendance, but we'll look at that in another video. So I have my 4 students on 4 different devices, and we're going to join, or rather we're going to have a lesson and move away from this Google Meet into the app that we were looking for, the Smart Learner Suite, which we don't have. So if you go over here, you can see from this logon, you can actually sign up for free. So what we'll do is, we'll sign up for free. Now, I've already signed in with a Google account, and you can sign in with your Google account, and you simply, this is my school's Google account, so I'm going to log in with that. But literally I could log in with any of them because the suite is the thing that they're going to connect to, not the specific email, as it were. So here's my ID and my name. Now obviously this is all going to be set up before you join the Google Classroom. I'm just showing you how it's done afterwards. So you're going to join and add an activity. You can play around with these 2 to show you how to make your own. So in this page, you can make these activities straight from here without any software needed. But if you have the Smart Notebook software, you can actually import a resource. So here is the Smart Notebook software, and I'll leave a link to a video I made on how to get earlier versions which are free, or you can get later versions where you get a 45-day trial, and I can show you on another video how you can reignite that 45-day trial. So here's the lesson that I've made. It's already prepared. I took these items from a book. So I've saved it on my desktop, and I'm going to click here. and here it is, food A2. So I'm going to open this, and this will take a while. This is why you have to do it before the lesson, but it will only take this long the first time. Once it's changed it and put it there, it's there for the next lesson as well. And here it is. Now you have two choices: finish editing or convert to activity. That means make it available now. But what I want to do is just finish the editing. And as you can see, it's saved. For the next time I visit, I can use it again. Now if you click here, you can make a copy of it just in case you need to re-edit it and make it different for another class. So we're going to start this lesson now. Once again, this is going to happen before you join the Google Meet. Get this set up. Now, in my Google tabs at the top, this is all considered to be one window if I share my window. So I want to share this window. In order to do that, I have to drag it out. So I click at the top and I drag it away from that main tab. And here you can see it has its own tab. I'm going to resize it a little because I want to see it at the same time as I see the students' comments. Okay, so here's my tab ready to be shared, and I'm just going to go on to here and present now. And I'm going to present a window. Here's my window, and I'll share. Now on the other devices, you can see that window has been shared. And what I'm going to do now okay, so now I click on these people items and I've got teacher and student choice. I can make it an individual handout or collaborative like pair work or a group work. The best way to do this is in the chat. I'm going to give them the link. So I'm going to send them the link, and the link they need to go on is this one, and remind them to join as a guest. So we copy this out, copy this, go back here and simply send a message, paste, and each student needs to go to that page, and when they go to that page, they then need to put in my class ID 12717. So we'll just wait for them to do that. Meanwhile, also, I may have left it as a message earlier on in the email, but for now, my students need to go to this page. So I'm going to do that individually for them. First on the Surface tablet. And here, remember, you have to click on the chat and go to the link. And are we joining? There it is, 127. If it was a new class, I would put that make in. So for instance, if this is the first time they go on, they would see a link like this. So they would join the class 12717. And I would join as, I've decided to write in my name as the device I've got. So I'm going to join as a guest, and you'll see, or I will see on my page here, that Surface Pro has joined. As you can see here in this corner, I can say I have one student. Next, I'm going to join on the iPad. So I can see the message at the top there in the chat. I'm going to click on that. And join as a guest, remember, so this might be the first time he's been. 12717. And the name is iPad. And iPad has arrived as well. Okay, now I'm going to do the iPhone. I just click on my pictures, I can see the information tab there, and I click and join. Okay, so now the iPad, iPhone and Surface Pro are ready. Now we just have to get the Android tablet up and running. Once again, click on the pictures, then on the link, and you can see I've got my 4 guests. Now I'm going to make this an individual handout to start with, so they've got something to get used to. At the moment they can't use any of these tools on the left because I haven't granted it, but now I'm going to make it an individual handout. And on each of their computers you can see the word start. So students will appear here once they've connected. So Surface Pro, iPhone, iPad and Android. And I can see they've all arrived. And what's great about this is I can actually jump into the Android and actually watch him working. So if he clicks on this tab here, then on the pen, he can use a pen, or he can use a highlighter. And he can make that thicker and say, okay, that one, and that one, and that one. And I can check this and say, wow, that's really good. You've done it. Perfect. In fact, if I'm not focusing on him, he can press done, and then a little green light comes here, and I can say, wow, he's done it. And then I can jump in and check his work. Also, I can check if anybody else is actually doing the work and say, well, Mr. iPad, what are you doing? And so he will start maybe doing some work as well. So there you see how I can watch everybody doing the work, and he's decided he's had enough. So when I've had enough, I can simply end the task. And all the students are now frozen because I'm not running the activity. I can't really show them anything unless they go back to the Google Meet area. But that's not a problem. What I can do is, if I click the next page, then all of them can see the next activity. And before I give them the power, I make sure they know that these words, they can actually move. And I show them moving. And then I say, okay, now you're going to do this as pair work. So I click here. And I've decided they're going to work in pairs. So I want 2 teams. And the Surface Pro is with the iPhone, which is good, and the iPad with the Android. So let's make those teams. And as you can see on their devices, they have red or orange. Okay, as you can see, I can see both teams. I can jump into the Surface team, and I can see them manipulating the text by moving the items, as do they both, and the same with the Android team. I can watch them moving all the items wherever they want to, and on the iPad. As they're working together, they're collaborating. So what happens on the iPad happens on the Android. And then I can simply stop the exercise. Now, what if I want to show them the work they've done to everybody? What if I want to say, well, let's look at these items, because some of you don't seem to understand what was going on. I can look at Team 1 and ask everybody if they can move back to the Google Meet, where I am actually sharing this with everyone. So everyone could go back. And the way you do this on the Surface tablet is easy, because you simply just click back. And here on the Android, you have to click these 3 bars at the bottom and then click back onto the Meet. And there you can see everyone's looking at Team 1. And the same with the iPad. So you have to double tap the button, or I can just simply tap this. If you're using Meet, you might have to double tap the button in order to go to another page. And the same with here, I'm going to lift up or double tap the button and go back into the Meet. So now we're in the meeting again, so we can write chats to each other, whatever we need to do. And then I can say, okay, well, let's do, the reason this was wrong is that should have been here or that should have been there. And then I can explain to them the next exercise. So everyone can see that. And then I ask them to go back to the pages they have to go to. So, but first of all, I want to jump down to page 9. So, for instance, page 8, they can all now go back to the suite again. On the Android, you press these 3 things and you click back in. With the iPad, depending if you're on the Meet or not, you either double tap the button or you click on this next tab. Here I have to double tap the button, click up, go back to the workspace. With the Surface, it's easy, you just click back. So everyone can see this, and I can explain why we use a lot of, much or many, etc. And then everyone can follow me and I can do some more explaining. Finally, I can give them this activity to do individually. So I'm going to do that. Click on the people and hand out individually. Everyone clicks start. And I can see how many people have arrived and are doing the work. At the moment, none of them can actually move up or down the pages. Only I can do that. However, if I were to give them the power, suddenly it pops up that you can go to any page you want. But this is the only one where they can actually move the text. So on the Android, if I decide to do, okay, much, maybe, whoops, made a mistake there, move that out, many, some, and the person thinks, you know what, I'm not really sure. So I'm going to check with him. So I'm going to go back here, go onto the Android, have a look at what he's doing, and tell him to go back a page. So what he can do is press on his button and he can go back a page. I can't see that he's gone back a page, but he has done, and he's reading it and thinking, okay, I think I understand. And then he comes back and he has to press resume. So that's for all the devices, that if they want to check on some kind of grammar, so here on the Surface Pro, I can go back, okay, I understand it now, and then I can go back and resume. Notice on the Android that the words didn't move out of place when he jumped to different pages. It stays as what you've done until you finish the exercise and click Done. And that way I see this green tick. Now the final thing I want to show you, there's obviously more and more stuff you can do with this, but just one thing I want to do. If you need an extra page just to explain something, you can click on this plus mark and click blank page. So I could make a blank page and I could explain some kind of details. However, obviously no one's joined me because I've left it in student mode. So now I'm going to put it back to teacher mode. And everyone is seeing the same page as me. I can make it an individual handout or collaborative workspace. So I can say we're all going to work on this together. We can all write on it together. And here, everyone on the team. So I've put here, everyone's on the team. And now each person can write what they feel like. This is the Android person. This is the Surface Pro person, etc., etc. So you get the gist. Also, one last thing before we go is shout it out, which is brilliant because they can use their phones, they can use these tablets to answer a question. You can say, okay, how many greetings can you think of that we use in English? And whatever they post will arrive here. And so, for instance, on the Android, you might say, hello. That's a good greeting. So that's his response. And on the Surface, writes, pleased to meet you. And then decided to send that response. And they've got 4 left. They can have more, it's up to you. On the iPad, it says, how do you do? Send that as a response. And then from the iPhone, just hi. Now, as a teacher, I can see all of these items here and I can move them around, but the students can't really see it. So even though I'm on the teacher and it's a whole class activity, the students can't really do much. They've got the shout it out class ID, they can write everything. But I guess the best way for them to all see the shout it out together is if we move over to the Smart Suite. Although I am going to see what this happens here if I end it. So these are all the contributors. So I'm going to end it, see what happens. Now, I'm just not running the activity, so they really can't see. So the best way is if I ask them to move back to the suite. So here, Android, it clicks on the tab, goes back in the suite. Surface clicks back on the tab. iPad, back on the tab. And iPhone, iPhone goes back like this. And so now I can explain, okay, these are very informal, these are very formal, and we can explain activities to them with their sentences. So this is how to use the Smart Learning Suite for a lesson. So basically that's the end of the lesson. So as a teacher, I will go back to this house area and I can see my lesson there. Obviously, the students can as well. And then I can stop sharing it, or I can just close it. And now we can all see each other and we can say goodbye. Remember, on Google Meet, make sure that everybody leaves the room. Don't forget to use the Snapchat, it's a good thing, and the register. Enjoy your lessons and see you on the next video.